Hello, this is Chris from LaHaver Berry Farm. Thought today, since we're in the middle of our bloom, that I'd talk a little bit about pollination in our Haskap orchard and what varieties we have here for pollination. We get a lot of questions about people having issues with pollination, not getting berries, don't know what happened, that kind of thing. So what I look for is flowering, of course, and I can see these guys are coming along quite good. There's still lots of flowers that will come yet, so my guess is we're kind of getting really close to a mid-bloom. I pruned these back a little bit, just these few plants here last winter, so that's why they're a little bit smaller than the other ones. But then I look at my other varieties. So we've got one full variety in this row, and I'll put the list of varieties in this orchard in the comments below. And then we have a different variety in this row, and I'm looking to see how's the bloom comparison, and do I have pollinators. So the most important pollinator is going to be, for us, is this guy right here, or this girl, I should say. This is a queen tricolored bumblebee. We have 3 different species of bumblebees in our farm, and the most that we usually see is the eastern common bumblebee, but it's nice to see the tricoloreds as well. Then I go and I check my other varieties. So this is a different variety from the other two in the first 2 rows, and again it's blooming at the same time. I know I have genetic diversity with these 3 varieties for certain, and actually all the varieties in this orchard have genetic diversity, because you need to do your research on what varieties are planting before you plant them, just to make sure you have that genetic diversity, because they can bloom at the same time, but without the genetic diversity you may not get good pollination. But if you just have a few plants at home and you're pretty sure that they were genetically different, you're looking to see if they're all blooming at the same time, and you can see on these guys they are. The other thing I look for is bloom drop, and you can see these are all blooms that have dropped. So I know we've had flowers and they've dropped, and once they've dropped, I usually start looking for, once we get through the major bloom, I'll start looking for little tiny berries growing on the plants. And that'll give me a good idea how things are going to progress, hopefully. But once everything's done blooming, we start to net. And then I just want to normally mow the orchard and get things underway. I'm a little bit behind this year. Weather's been cold and wet this spring. But typically by the end of May, our bloom is finished and we start netting. So this row and the next 2 rows are smaller plants. This is a different planting, to plant them at a different time. The smaller ones on the end, the deer were kind of chewing on them last winter, but they're the last ones we planted, so they're a little bit behind everybody else. But everybody is blooming when they're supposed to be blooming, and this gives us, with 7 different varieties in this orchard, we're getting a really good diversification, and typically we get a good pollination. Bumblebees are our best. We do have honeybees occasionally, though we will get into them. They seem to be more interested in other stuff at the moment. There's an eastern common bumblebee right here, a couple of them actually. Sometimes they get a little annoyed if you get too close to them, but generally speaking, we usually have, if the sun comes out, it's still quite early in the morning and it's still quite cool. There's one in this plant as well. But later on today, if I come back, there'll be bumblebees in almost every single plant, and that's really what I want to see. One of these queens they can do 6,000 to 8,000 flowers a day. And if it's 0 degrees, they will pollinate, which is really good. It's a very key pollinator for us. And that's it. Thanks for watching.